You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint and then
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
In 2014, Eric Garner was assaulted by police in New York, choked, put in a chokehold, and said, "I can't breathe." And the officer would not let the chokehold go, and he died. They would not prosecute that officer. Wow. It took us 5 years to get him fired.
can't take 5 years.
If they had prosecuted that officer, maybe Floyd would be alive today.
Amen. Amen.
Why do I say that at the scene of his death? Is because we're going to make sure that this prosecution goes down. So we're not somewhere 5 years from now saying they should have prosecuted Floyd.
Yeah.
In the Floyd case. You have a deceased person. You have a tape showing how he was deceased.
What?
You have a tape showing the other 3 police did nothing to prevent it.
What?
Then they should tell these 4 police what they tell all of us in the hood. Tell it to the judge. And let's not tell half the story. The reason why you see the anger in Minneapolis is because this is not the first time. And this is not the first time you ignored the rights of people. Sometimes that Martin Luther King Jr. said that sometimes when you see riots, it's the unheard speaking. Yes, we are nonviolent, but we understand the outrage and the anger. We're all angry.
Years ago, the officers involved in my son's murder, it was lies after lies, cover-up after cover-up. I just commend this mayor for acting so swiftly. Because in my case, it took 5 years. 5 years just to fire one officer, and it would not have happened if I wouldn't have kept pressing on after the federal government said that they wasn't going forward. I said, you may not go forward, but I am.
My name is Andrea Jenkins. I'm the Vice President of the Minneapolis City Council. This is my corner. This is our corner. We are not letting this corner go to the police. We're not letting this corner go to all of the anarchists that are here that want to destroy our community. We are not letting this corner go to anybody. This is our streets. We're going to fight for our streets, and we're going to fight for justice for George.
My name is Jeff Hayden, and I'm the state senator in this district. And Andrea and I have been working on this corner for well over 25 years. I will agree with her. We are not going to let this corner go. And I will tell you that as we move forward and we go into special session, you will not get the vote of the African-American community and the people of color community until we get real reform at the state capitol. And that means dealing with the Minneapolis Police Department, making sure, right, that we have the right officers there and that we recruit. And every single dollar that we spend with the police, we should spend 3 in the community. And that's what we're going to push for. I won't be long. I want to give it to Pastor Farrar, who's been on this corner for 38 years.
We're going to see those officers not only charged, but in jail. Amen. That's what I really want to see. And I want to just thank everybody. Reverend Sharpton, I really appreciate him. And my mother here, Mother Garner, I really appreciate you and being here to represent your son. You haven't quit. and it's an inspiration for all of us to keep going and keep pushing and to keep pressing. Here's the man of God, Bishop Howe.
We are not asking for the ballot. We are demanding the ballot. We are not asking for peace. We're demanding peace. We're not asking for justice. We demand justice. To our county attorney, Mike Freeman, arrest these 4 men and charge them with murder.
That's the irony of what we're doing to each other out here, y'all. So let's change that. Let's be together. It might be some people down there that's violent, that's rioting right now, but if we went down there as a city, as a community, our voice is going to be heard better than that. Because we're non-violent protest, we're non-violent rally, we're here to build, we're not here to take down. That's all I got to say.
The chants started before the meeting began, a group of people protesting the mayor's plan to fund more police officers.
The police are not being held accountable with the numbers they have. And so the community doesn't support additional police officer funding.
Those who refuse to follow these instructions will be removed from the chamber.
Y'all should be removed. Y'all is a joke.
The demonstrations prompted the council to briefly adjourn.
The council will recess until this group decides that we can have our meeting.
We need safety beyond policing, but we still need police.
Once the mayor began his presentation, he competed with frequent chanting.
Officers are pulled from 911 call to 911 call. And as the data shows,
at times he was drowned out.
That undo the legacy of institutions
by a crowd which made clear their distrust of police.
People don't feel safe to call the police, that's apparent.
The mayor stood by his plan to add officers.
I'm delivering on the promises that I made, and I am proud of it, and I stand behind it 100%.
Those 14 additional officers are a far cry from the police department's request to add 400 more over 5 years. AJ Legault continues our team coverage with a look at the numbers and the biggest thing straining the department right now.
We review our chief's recommendations.
Following his address to City Council, Mayor Fry sat with Chief Arredondo by his side and admitted his budget proposal for 14 new officers, which is far from the 400 requested by the chief, is just the beginning.
I would say it's a start.
The police chief points to the nearly 7,000 Priority 1 911 calls that came in last year where there were not officers available to quickly respond.
That is unconscionable, and we have to do better. We must do better.
It's far from the only factor, but the chief said the opioid epidemic is taxing his department to the max.
We spent 34 calendar days total last year responding just to overdoses in our city.
Police Union President Lieutenant Bob Kroll issued a statement saying 14 is a start, but it's a very slow start. We are happy our numbers are increasing, but we're hoping it would be a much larger increase. Even getting 14 new officers is not a given. A city council, clearly conflicted about expanding the police force, will still have to vote on it.
Tonight on KARE 11 News at 6, city business leaders say some members of city council are in denial about the need for more police officers on our city streets. In downtown Minneapolis, AJ Legault, KARE 11 News.
Right now, Black Visions, as well as Reclaim the Block and other community members are, and for the last several years have been calling on our city council and mayor to divest from the police and invest in community-led safety solutions. We want justice for George Floyd, and we know that justice isn't enough. And now is the time to defund the police and invest in community. And I was on the streets not last night, the night before for some time. I actually live with my dad who is really vulnerable to COVID-19. And so I've had to figure out ways to keep myself safe so that I can still care for him. But yeah, I was there witnessing the rebellion being led by young Black and brown folks. Upon seeing the video, I haven't really watched the full video because I feel like I've honestly seen enough of those. But the murder did happen 2 blocks from my home, Cup Foods is actually my regular, corner deli. We want justice for George Floyd, and we think accountability with the officers is really necessary. And too often we just lean on that accountability and feed more into a prison system that continues to be harmful to all of our communities. And so now is really the time for the Minneapolis City Council and mayor to defund the police and invest in community. As well, we are calling for the Minneapolis Police Department to acknowledge the harm of their institution and the ways that it has violated the dignity and rights of Black communities and families, make an official apology, and then continue the work.
And let me also ask you, Candace, Tamika Mallory and others have been warning people about provocateurs on the streets, and I'm wondering your thoughts on this.
Absolutely. I think that is always a real issue. We know the history of COINTELPRO and other state-led interventions to quiet and quell Black organizing and rebellion. And so I think it's very important that folks who are on the streets are being wary of who's actually aligned with the values and the reasons why they are out there and who's not.
They are enraged, and there's an easy way to stop it. Arrest the cops. Charge the cops. Charge all the cops. Not just some of them, not just here in Minneapolis. Charge them in every city across America where our people are being murdered. Charge them everywhere. That's the bottom line. Charge the cops. Do your job. Do what you say this country is supposed to be about, the land of the free for all. It has not been free for Black people, and we are tired. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted Black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence from you. We learned violence from you. The violence was what we learned from you. So if you want us to do better, then damn it, you do better.
Did you realize you were the victim of a Chinese communist plot?
Senator, I did not. To this moment, I'm not sure I understand. I'm the victim of a communist plot.
And the control of your company somehow to allow China to control.